I mean, I thought a lot about the blood on the floor or in the shower or wherever it was going to end up. And then, you know, what happened if it wasn't successful? And then even worse, what if it was successful and then my parents had to come in and clean that up, or, you know, or get my possessions or whatever.
So you contemplated suicide?
Oh, I was so close. So close. Zip ties. Razor blade. I had already thought that I was headed for the military. I was already kind of thinking about it anyway. I ended up being sent over to the CB unit on Coronado Island in San Diego. And I kind of fell into it right then. It was awesome. It was big everything. Big machinery, big diesel engines, 4-inch thick wires, hard work, tough work, and done by people who were so dedicated to what we did. There was camaraderie there amongst us that I've never experienced before or since. You know, these guys, they'll die for you and you'll die for them. That's just the way it is.
January 20th, 1981 was Jimmy Carter's last day in office.
Mr. President, the hostage is out.
Can't say yes.
Not yet. Not yet.
In 1979, some students from Tehran, college students from Tehran, stormed the embassy, the American embassy, took 52 hostages, and kept them for over 400 days. One of Jimmy Carter's last gasps in 1980, we did a rescue attempt. We were off the coast of Iran. We were supposed to pick up special forces after they took down the embassy.
Equipment failure in the rescue helicopters made it necessary to end the mission. As our team was withdrawing after my order to do so, 2 of our American aircraft collided on the ground.
It was a mess. Guys were falling out of helicopters. One of the Marines killed himself in front of us. And I bring that up because of the intensity of the moment. We're working and, you know, I hear this pop. And I look up and the guy's falling against the Conex box, against the armory. And it didn't you know, kind of register right away until I don't know who it was that got there first, but they went to lay him down and everything just kind of disintegrated from the back of his head. And you know, just there was just blood everywhere, and just it was, you know, chaotic. And so they got us off of there. We went down below, and so they brought in the helicopter. They tried to save him. It wasn't going to happen. And they brought in the helicopter. We had to go up and we had to clean up the blood from being blown by the rotors. That was the thing that I can't get out of my head. Was having to clean that up like that. And then, you know, of course, for the rest of the Westpac, Western Pacific crews, that's what they call them, Westpac. You know, that dried blood and brain matter and stuff. You know, every once in a while you see you know, a little bit and on some of the gear or whatever, and it, you know, it just keeps coming back, came back. So we learned later that his sister was dating some guy that this Marine didn't like, and it, you know, it was an indication of how fragile people's sanity can be. And I've never forgotten that. I've never forgotten the incident. I've never forgotten the impact, but I've certainly have never forgotten that fragility of life. And living with PTSD, it's an ongoing thing. You know, like the test dummies where they slam it into a wall? I'm the test dummy. So what happens is you're okay for a year, things start to unravel a little bit, maybe you lose your job, maybe you lose your apartment, but it's still building. And then the car wreck. You can't do anything to stop it, and it just keeps coming. So you hit that wall. And usually the wall has been for me, arrest, prison, alcohol abuse. 2014, everything went to hell. I was at Maricopa County Jail in the Veterans Pod, and my cell was right next to the telephones. So I heard it. I heard the argument, the one-sided argument from the veteran on the phone. 2 hours later, he took the razor blade apart and slit his throat from ear to ear, killed himself. I was sent to the Yuma prison. It's filled with guys that just do not belong there. And at the time, the Yuma had 182 veterans on there. And I know that number because I'm the one who started the Veterans Support Group. You train these veterans, and then you throw them in prison because they don't fit the mold of the society that you've integrated them into. The system as a whole, let me be clear, is not for humans. Once you've been arrested, veterans don't matter anymore. America loves the active duty troops, not so much the veteran. I think that we're more of a burden by most people's standards. I focused on those factors, on those things that made me want to take my life. I didn't want the good things to get in the way. So you stay just laser focused. Going back to prison, life's a shambles. I can't freaking believe another freaking suicide. It was either commit suicide or take myself out or get into the VA and get some help, which is what I did, and saved my life. The VA won't give prescriptions for marijuana cards. You generally can't use VA records for mental health, whether they're like PTSD or depression, to obtain a medical marijuana card. I also have a condition called neuropathy, which is a physical condition, and I get knee pain, and so that's how I got my medical marijuana card.
Why do you think that marijuana has a more taboo kind of reputation than that of alcohol, for example?
You know, it goes back to the reefer madness.
Innocently they dance, innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide.
That darn movie came out almost 100 years ago, and it's still affecting the way that we look at marijuana. There's also the, the stoner, surfer type of categorization. You're dumb, you're stupid. I consider myself pretty intelligent, and I smoke pot.
National surveys are now showing that 11% of seniors in our high schools are getting stoned or drunk, which is a better term, every single day. The marijuana user has a kind of delusion where he feels that marijuana is not affecting him, or if it's affecting him, it's making him a better person.
You know, when I'm in school, I can think clearly. You know, it might not be, it might not be real quick, but I can think clearly, I think.
This is the worst year Rodney has ever had at school.
We have the rock stars who are saying that you can use anything you want and you don't have to pay any dues. Our culture is giving a big message that getting high is okay.
I don't know how that's still relative today. When you're looking at something that's less expensive than alcohol, less expensive than oxycodone, and any of the other drugs out there, it has immediate effects, and then it wears off until you need another one. It's like aspirin. It's like aspirin for the soul in some ways. I don't care what you want to call it, medical marijuana, recreational marijuana. It helps me deal with the day-to-day, the hour-to-hour anxieties and depressions that I deal with every day. I think that it would make a smoother transition for our returning troops. Certainly much better than alcohol. 10 times, 20 times, a million times better than heroin or opioids. It would take the federal government to approve medical marijuana before the VA could actually support it. So I channeled that anger of 14 months in prison, 45 months on pretrial services, into starting an organization. Veterans Justice Project is a veterans helping veterans organization, but more importantly, we assist the incarcerated and justice-involved veteran while advocating for veterans treatment courts. And this keeps me going. I have a goal now. I have a fight. I have hope. Maybe I can make a change. Maybe I can save a life. You know, for me, save the life of another veteran. Think about it. We had each other's back in combat, in the service, in active duty. We have each other's back again now, still.